Chapter 23 17 Moon People 1. After the ink-wash shadow expanded, it transformed into a giant monster hundreds of meters tall, holding a simple-shaped giant sword in its hand. When he attacked, his counterattack was just the simplest slash, but it was like drawing a bold stroke on a white paper, and with a crash, the world between the two was separated. CL Yunyan's attack hit the ink stroke hard, immediately triggering a terrifying energy storm. Fungu took the opportunity to pick up Shun Liuxing and rushed directly into the depths of the lost forest filled with black fog. When CL Yunyan saw this, a burning anger appeared in his eyes. We absolutely cannot let this spark be taken away. Otherwise, this satellite will be completely destroyed. She raised her sword high and said to the mighty crowd of holy silver knights behind her, "Follow me, charge into the lost forest, and bring back the meteor." The clashing of gold objects made a deafening sound, which was the encouragement of the holy silver knights. They roared and rushed into the huge, strange jungle covered with black fog like a steel torrent that could destroy everything. But soon after the torrent poured into the area, a terrifying sound came from the depths of the jungle, like the roar of a mountain god. Black fog surged, and among the mountains, large black clouds quickly rolled up and moved towards the edge of the lost forest. And that huge black cloud actually condensed into a strange, inhuman face in midair. There was finally a change in CL Yunyan's eyes. Those monsters. All the holy silver knights who rushed into the fog quickly lost their color, like white paper stained by ink. Screams rang out one after another, and their bodies seemed to be flattened by something, turning into two-dimensional pieces of thin human skin paper. However, it is not just their bodies that are compressed. Armor, weapons, and anything else stained by ink will not escape this fate. CL Yunyan hurriedly shouted, "Retreat." With a simple command, all the two-dimensional holy silver knights who were not stained by ink immediately evacuated the foggy area. In CL Yunyan's eyes, anger and anxiety were flowing. Even she didn't dare to step into this forbidden place where powerful lunatics gathered. The spark cannot be lost, otherwise the one on the silver throne will not be able to maintain his power. We must bring the meteor back. But it is obviously impossible to let her enter this dark fog jungle. It's not that she's afraid of death, but because it would be a meaningless sacrifice. She swung her large silver cape and said, "Let's go back to the Shining Moon Empire first. Since the person came from the Dark Moon Empire, let's put pressure on those ugly monsters and make them bring him out to me." On the planet, countries around the world are shaken by the changes in the moon. On the Bharata side, when Indra received the news, he was sitting cross-legged in meditation inside the temple. He crossed his legs, raised one arm high, closed his eyes, and looked focused. In the next month, no matter what happens, he will not put down this arm, in order to prove his piety in serving the Trinity God in exchange for blessings. Suddenly, he slowly opened his eyes. "We have guests." "I see, is that the case?" "I already know." He muttered to himself for a while, then said to the outside, "Let the guests in." As his voice fell, the palace door opened, and a monk attendant led a man in traditional clothing in. The man had fair skin, a high-nose bridge, and a Western air. Although he wore ethnic clothing out of respect for Indra, he seemed very restrained when walking. He is Bharatiya Janata Party's Home Minister Rajesh Thakur. When Rajesh saw Indra, he first saluted with his hands folded devoutly. Before he could speak, Indra stretched out his left hand with a calm smile that seemed to see through everything. "You don't have to say it, I already know why you're here." Upon hearing this, Rajesh couldn't help but exclaim in admiration, "Your Excellency is truly worthy of being blessed by the Trimurti. Before I even spoke, you already knew why I came. Then, can you answer the questions in my mind?" Rajesh looked at Indra with a nervous expression. Indra's real name is Anand Sharma. Before the end of the world, he was a world-famous psychic and prophet. After the end of the world, he gained even greater power and was hailed as God's agent walking on earth, and he has always been the most revered being in Bharata. Compared to his powerful fighting ability, what makes him more trusted is his infallible ability to predict the future. In Indra's eyes, Chaotic light and shadow flickered like a kaleidoscope. He smiled and nodded. Certainly. Don't worry, in the future I see, the moon is intact. It will continue to hang high in the sky, illuminating our dark nights. Because there will be a human hero who will save everything. Rajesh breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. But who is this hero? How can we find him and ask him to save humanity? Indra stood up with his left hand raised high, a calm smile on his face. This hero of humanity is, of course, me. Rajesh. Rajesh opened his eyes wide and felt like complaining. Originally, he believed in Indra, but he also heard that the spokesperson of this god was very arrogant and therefore had been slapped in the face by Hundun of Hashu Kingdom. However, it is difficult to change one's nature, and now it seems that he still has the same old habits. Your Excellency Emperor Shirtian, do you really see that you saved the moon? Rajesh asked uncertainly. Although it was a bit offensive, the matter was of great importance, and he would not allow the other party to brag about such things. Emperor Shirtian frowned slightly. Who else could it be but me? I am the chosen one, the only one. Since the three-phase god has allowed me to see the future disaster, then only I can resolve all crises. Don't worry, I will do it myself. Rajesh could only believe it now. After all, Indra's predictions were never wrong. Even though he could only see the general direction of the future and could not deduce the details, as long as the human world was not destroyed, the high castes of Bharata could rest easy. That's not necessary. Rajesh smiled and said, Our country doesn't have the capability to go to the moon. We just did a space experiment last month, and guess what? It exploded before it reached a height of less than 1,000 meters. The less ability, the less responsibility. Chapter 23 18 Moon People 2. When Indra heard this, his face suddenly turned ugly. The important mission of saving all of humanity will be difficult to accomplish without me, Indra. Do you intend to disregard the future of all mankind? Rajesh asked in confusion. Didn't you say that the problem will be solved? Then even if you don't do it, someone else will. Why not stay on the ground? It's very safe. We don't want you to take any risks. Indra got even angrier because he knew Rajesh was right. Future development trends will not change due to human observation. He can foresee the future, and this is actually part of the future. Cause and effect is not just about cause coming before effect. The effect leading to the cause is also a kind of law of cause and effect. In other words, no matter what happens next, it will not change the future that the issue of the moon will be resolved by humans. Of course, Indra could not accept this. No, I have to go. This is a golden opportunity to let the whole world know how powerful we are. And how powerful I, Indra, am. The second half of the sentence is what he really means. Rajesh approached him with a worried look on his face and said respectfully, But in that case, you must leave Bharat. You cannot borrow the power of faith of our millions of believers, and you might be in danger. Indra has been practicing hard, and he almost no longer cares about what happens in the outside world. But Rajesh and other senior officials have been paying attention to everything happening outside. They knew clearly that Zhang Yi of the neighboring Hashu kingdom now possessed the strength of a black bishop and had once demonstrated his prowess against the Wulwan Empire over the Pacific Ocean. In Britannia, the third conquest of Atlantis was also successful. No one knew how powerful that group of knights of the Round Table were. Fremons of the North. When the Icans showed up, they showed off their base in the Arctic Ocean. The Pantheon believed that there were ancient ruins left by the Icans there, so they went to explore, led by Goddess of Winter, Morana, and God of Thunder, Alexei Ivanov. In the past 6 months, they have reaped rich rewards and their strength has grown tremendously. Fremons did not hide this fact at all, but instead deliberately publicized it. In addition, after the war against the mechanical civilization, they became the second biggest winner after Zhang Yi, harvesting a large amount of mechanical legion wreckage, and the entire national strength was growing rapidly. Compared with them, Indra can only stay in Bharata today, relying on the faith of hundreds of millions of believers in Bharata, a religious country, to defend his homeland. Countries around the world have successively received news about the huge crack on the surface of the moon. No one knows who spread the news, but judging from the fact that they hid their identities, it is most likely the mysterious underground organization Tong. The news spread more and more widely, and it has begun to cause a huge storm around the world. As long as you look up on a cloudless night, you can clearly see the terrifying gap using only a high-power optical microscope. So for a moment, the whole world was thrown into great panic because of this incident. Western Europe, the headquarters of the Holy See, is in Bethlehem. Pope Alexander X was sitting on the papal throne in a platinum-embroidered robe. He was too old, his skin was sagging like chicken skin, and he even had difficulty opening his eyes. His face was covered with age spots that symbolized death. This nearly 100-year-old man is the most powerful person in the world today, bar none. He is the spiritual leader of hundreds of millions of devout believers around the world after the end of the world. I wonder how many people would be willing to die because of his words. At this moment, he was sitting on the throne, and next to him stood a handsome young man with blonde hair. At the bottom of the stairs, two figures were kneeling respectfully. Corey Orion, the Knight of War among the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse of the Holy See, also known as the Father of Discipline, and Plague Knight, Morning Sister Brittany Leibniz. The two bowed their heads reverently, waiting for the order from His Holiness the Pope. Alexander X's voice slowly emerged from his throat. The changes on the moon have already occurred. This is a sign from God. This is not a bad thing. It is a rare and good opportunity for us. Having said that, his voice suddenly became more serious. However, those traitors seem to want to interfere and complicate this matter. What do you think we should do? The hot-tempered priest with white hair and a perpetually angry expression raised his head and bared his teeth, saying, "Needless to say, Your Holiness, please let me go. I will kill all those pagans." The beautiful and charming Sister Leibniz frowned slightly and said, "This incident has spread to the whole world. We can't act rashly, otherwise we may face backlash. Therefore, this operation must be carefully planned." The Pope held his face with one hand and pondered for a long time. His withered eyes rolled around before he said, "We must go to the moon. This time, I intend to send 2 of you with me. Bring the Book of Revelation. If anyone stands in our way, send them to see God."
Hey.
"I will follow your orders, Your Holiness the Great Pope," Corey Orion said excitedly, placing one hand on his chest. Fighting for the Holy See is what he most desires to do. The nun also nodded devoutly. But at this moment, the blonde boy next to him suddenly said to the Pope, "It seems that it is difficult for the 2 of them alone to deal with the powerful aliens from various countries." The Pope chuckled. "That's why I sent them on this mission. To complete this mission, we need not only strength but also wisdom." He opened his right hand, and soon a golden holy light appeared in front of him. In that holy light, the ancient and sacred thick book, the Book of Revelation with a parchment scroll as its cover emerged. Then the Book of Apocalypse actually turned from 1 copy into 2 copies slowly, floating in front of 2 people respectively. The Apocalypse has no ontological existence. It is a condensation of faith, embodying the entire Junjing Church and its 1,000-year-old faith heritage. No one can imagine how powerful it is. But only the most devout believers can unleash its true power. The 2 men took the Book of Revelation with their pious hands and left. Chapter 23:19 Moon People 3. Hashu Country, Tianhai City. The reconstruction of Tianhai City is nearing completion. After the Wulwan Empire was destroyed, although this matter had not yet spread widely, Zhang Yi did not deliberately conceal it. The military strength of the entire Hashu kingdom has increased significantly, and the surrounding countries can more or less feel this through the improvement in the strength of their extraordinary people and the strengthening of their military equipment. Even Tianhai City was expanded by Zhang Yi. From the beginning, the area was only a dozen kilometers in radius, and now it has expanded to 100 kilometers. After the biggest threat, the Wulwan Empire, is eliminated, no underground civilization or foreign forces will dare to pose a threat in the short term. After all, there are not many underground civilizations that have appeared in the open that are more powerful than the Wulwan Empire, and Zhang Yi has never offended those forces. As for those who have conflicts with him, such as the land of the marsh under the Neon Island Kingdom and Atlantis in northern Europe, Zhang Yi judges that their strength is unlikely to surpass that of the Wulwan Empire. Therefore, the Hashu Kingdom has now evolved to a level that is not inferior to ordinary underground civilizations. Their technological strength and military level reached an astonishing level in the few years after the end of the world. The sky was bright. Zhang Yi sat on top of the Tianhai fortress, looking at the green lawn in front of him, the workers working on the lawn, and the children resting and playing. There is sunshine, blue sky, and white clouds above your head, and the temperature in the air is so pleasant that you might even forget that the end of the world has been here for 5 years. This is the latest space technology. Zhang Yi used an isolation cover to protect the entire Tianhai city, and the temperature inside can be controlled. This technology comes from the Wulwan Empire. Although their technological level is much lower than that of the Zhongyuan tribe, they've been able to survive for billions of years, which is indeed admirable. The most important thing is that what Zhang Yi obtained from the Wulwan Empire was a complete set of technology. From military industry to biological science and humanities, although the lizardmen have become extinct, their technology has not disappeared. Zhang Yi looked at everything in front of him and was grateful for the gift from the Wulwan Empire. However, when he raised his hand and summoned the projection of the moon, he saw the huge scar and couldn't help but feel annoyed. The day of destruction. Is this what you mean? Behind him, someone climbed up the ladder and sat next to Zhang Yi. It was Zhou Ke. Zhang Yi knew it was her when he smelled the rose scent on her. She loved this kind of high-end perfume. Zhang Yi, what's wrong? You look troubled. She smiled, covered her skirt with her hands, and slowly sat down next to Zhang Yi, revealing the amazingly perfect curve of her waist and hips. I have been with Zhang Yi for almost 5 years. She has become more mature, but she still has that baby face and big breasts. After all, the ability of the undead allows her to transform her body at will, so she also adjusted her figure to his favorite shape according to Zhang Yi's preferences. She was already very beautiful, and with just a few adjustments, she could have a body that perfectly matched the golden ratio and was even more charming. It is no exaggeration to say that she is the modern version of the goddess of beauty Venus and the most beautiful woman in the world. After all, she is not a natural beauty. Zhang Yi looked at the beautiful Ke. Her thick black hair fell behind her, fluttering slowly in the breeze. Her beautiful big eyes were full of admiration and concern for him. Zhang Yi couldn't help but hold her in his arms, sighed, and said, "Yes, it's been 5 years since the apocalypse. Time flies so fast. In the blink of an eye, we've gone from the snow-covered and dangerous Yuelu community to where we are now. The warehouse manager who used to only care about his own survival now has to take care of the lives of so many people." Zhang Yi complained, "When will this apocalypse end?" Zhang Yi rarely reveals his weak side in front of others. Even when Lu Karen, Fatty Sue, and others arrived. Because he is the team leader, he must remain strong and give confidence to others. Only in front of Zhou Ke would he show himself. Zhou Ke hugged Zhang Yi and comforted him softly. "Everything will be fine. You've done very well. As for the moon incident, it's not your responsibility alone. I believe that countries and major organizations around the world are planning this matter." Didn't Ho Tu also say that the Dragon Clan didn't care about this matter? This means that the world hasn't been destroyed yet. Otherwise, how about we consider going to Mars and building a life base? Leave the biological sciences to me. Zhang Yi pinched her slender yet plump waist and said, "It's easier said than done. The revival of the Druk Protoss is inevitable. If we run away now, decades or centuries from now, the situation will only get worse." Ever since Zhou Ke awakened the Epsilon-level supernatural power, undead, her understanding of life has reached a new level. Microscopic field. She can even change the telomeres in human cells, optimizing them and increasing the number of divisions. In other words, it can greatly prolong human life. Zhang Yi even felt that if one day she could reach the level of the legendary Ling, she might even be able to achieve true physical immortality. It is precisely because of this that Zhang Yi and others have had their bodies transformed by Zhou Qi. According to Zhou Qi's speculation, they can live to over 300 years old, and this number will increase as her abilities become stronger. He needs to consider things that far into the future. Zhang Yi heard Zhou Qi's comfort. Although he understood some of the truth, he felt much better when it was said by his woman. He hugged Zhou Qi and rested for a while before slowly getting up and taking her away. You're right. To resolve this matter, all the major forces in the world need to work together. I want to see what they are planning. 3 days later, a meeting was held online, led by Hashu Kingdom, Colombia, and the Junjing Church, and attended by major countries and organizations around the world. The online meeting was held in a huge virtual space, a circular hall, where virtual figures descended from the internet. Almost everyone with status from all over the world came. The people from Hashu country, the 6 districts and Zhang Yi's side, the representative of the Junjing Church, the blonde boy George Wiggins, the president of the Columbia Natural Science Association, Benjamin Morgan. In addition to them, people from various major countries and forces such as Fremons, Britannia, the Khotan Empire, and the Tong Organization were also present.